Every day, billions of people scan QR codes without giving them a second thought. We point our phones at a little black and white square on a poster, menu, or payment counter, and instantly access websites, menus, or payment links. It feels like one of the most ordinary digital tools in our modern world. But if you stop and ask a simple question, why are QR codes square? It takes you on a fascinating journey through Japanese factories, barcode limitations, and clever engineering designed for speed and reliability. What's especially interesting is that the square shape isn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice made in the 1990s that solved real problems with older technology. So how did this pixelated square become the universal symbol of quick digital access? Let's break it down right here on Story Behind the Things. Long before QR codes, we had traditional barcodes. Those familiar lines on product packaging. Barcodes work well for supermarkets, but they have limitations. They can only hold a small amount of information, must be scanned from a specific angle, and can't store links or complex data. In 1994, a Japanese company called Denso Wave, a subsidiary of Toyota, faced a big challenge. Their factory workers needed a faster way to track vehicle parts. A team led by engineer Masahiro Hara invented the QR code, short for Quick Response Code. They needed something that could hold much more data and be scanned almost instantly from any direction. The team chose a square shape for several smart reasons. First, a square allows information to be packed efficiently in two dimensions, both horizontally and vertically, unlike traditional barcodes that only go in one direction. This square grid can store hundreds of times more data. But the most important part of the design is those three big square eyes in the corners. These are called finder patterns or position detection patterns. They help the smartphone camera quickly locate the code, figure out its orientation, and determine its size, even if the code is rotated, tilted, or partially damaged. Because of these three corner squares, the scanner knows exactly where the code begins and ends. The fourth corner is left empty on purpose. This clever asymmetry allows the software to understand the code's rotation and correct any distortions instantly. That's why you can scan a QR code upside down or from an angle and it still works perfectly. The small black and white squares inside the grid are called modules. Each one represents bits of data. Zeros and ones. The square format combined with built-in error correction makes QR codes incredibly reliable. Even if up to 30% of the code is dirty, torn, or covered, it can still be read. When QR codes first appeared in Japan in the mid-1990s, they were mainly used in manufacturing and logistics. But smartphones changed everything. By the 2010s, QR codes exploded in popularity around the world, especially after the pandemic made contactless interactions essential. Today, the square shape remains the global standard because it works so well. While designers sometimes create artistic versions with rounded corners or custom frames for branding, the actual functional code inside is almost always square. The square design of QR codes perfectly represents how great inventions often come from solving practical problems with elegant, simple solutions. What started as a tool for car factories in Japan has now become a universal bridge between the physical and digital worlds. The technology continues to evolve with new versions like micro QR codes and even colorful or animated designs. But the fundamental square shape with its three guiding eyes has survived because it simply works best. The next time you scan a QR code, remember that its square shape isn't random. It's a masterpiece of thoughtful engineering that makes instant digital connections possible in our fast-paced world. And that's the surprising story behind one of the most ordinary squares in modern life. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Story Behind the Things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.